بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I've had the pleasure as well of watching Brother Nahyan without breaking his back or busting his chops or making him blush or embarrass him. But I've had the pleasure, alhamdulillah, over these years to watch him grow up. He didn't have a beard. He was much more skinny. He had a younger looking face. And Brother Nahyan, alhamdulillah, was always a positive young brother in the masjid. He was always a positive young brother, alhamdulillah. He always will come and pray, especially Fajr. He would sit in some of the classes. He was always easygoing, cool-headed, nice young brother. And there are many young brothers here in Queens and other parts of New York, let alone Philadelphia and other cities, that I have had the pleasure to watch grow up and to develop and mature into young men. So I ask Allah, the Mighty and Most High, to continue to bless you, to guide you, to keep you upon your seriousness, to keep you steadfast, and bi'idhnillahi ta'ala to make you a contributor of good to this society, and a contributor of good to the Muslims and to the non-Muslims alike. Being a young Muslim, a youth, going to college, studying, working, trying to get married, you are married, is a tremendous blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm also fortunate enough to speak about this topic not from an aspect of theory, just theory, book smarts, but me myself, being relatively young, being born and raised Muslim, going to the masjid. I was a Jawala scout, the equivalent to like a Muslim Boy Scout when I was younger. My older sisters, my father and mother, my uncles and aunts that were Muslim from among my family, and just realizing some of the challenges of growing up in the United States, being young and trying to do the right thing, trying to be a Muslim, trying to practice, dealing with peer pressure, dealing with bullying, substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, and the list goes on of all of the things that come your way as a young Muslim man or a young Muslim woman. So me, myself, I can speak about this topic not just from theory, from a book or a lecture, but actually from personal experience and how good it feels to be a young Muslim and to do the right thing and the gratification that you get from being righteous and striving to be righteous. Those who know it, and those who don't know it, they just don't know it. With regards to gratification or being satisfied and feeling good, then like anything else, included in that is marriage. It could be a blessing or it could be a curse. It could be a blessing or a curse to feel good and to get results. And that is what I'm going to gear and craft my speech towards you around. The concept of the age in which you live, which is the same as the age in which I grew up as a teenager, 17, 18, 19, 20, but at the same time it's very different. So the smartphone or the tablet or the virtual library or the internet and the live stream and all of these different things that we have today, they're good. They're blessings. They're helpful. They're satisfying. They give you gratification, they give you satisfaction. But at the same time, if they're misused, or if they're mishandled, or if one doesn't give the necessary focus, then they can become an utter curse. And from that is the idea and the ideal of being a young Muslim and getting married. Being a young Muslim and getting married. So if we were to play what they call the devil's advocate, may Allah protect us from imitating the devils and being an advocate of evil, but the expression, the terminology, play the bad role, play the bad guy. So if I'm 19 years old, I'm studying in college, I'm going to get a degree, I'm working on my master's, I'm working on my doctor's, whatever I'm doing, why should I get married? Getting married is only going to slow me down. My older sister got married and she's divorced. She's back home with us. My older brother, he got married and it was a nightmare, a hellish nightmare. Getting married, I have to fight with my father because he wants to marry the man that he wants and not the man that I want, the man that I love. He wants to marry someone that has a lot of money, and I'm going to marry someone that's religious. I want to marry someone that's handsome. I want to marry someone that has a good personality, a good character, has a sense of humor. And my father, he wants me to marry someone who's just a stiff. Someone who just walks, yes, no, but he comes from a good, strong family background. Why should I even try to get married? My mother, she's jealous of the woman that I want to marry. A young sister, she's beautiful, she's righteous. And my mother, who loves me, is jealous of me and her. And she throws in a monkey wrench. She's trying to prevent us from getting married. So why even try? Why even try? If I get married, how am I going to go overseas and study Islam? How am I going to memorize the Quran? And there's a woman texting me every 5 seconds. Where are you? What are you doing? Why aren't you home? The children need food. The children need diapers. The children need pampers. Why even try to get married? I'll go overseas. I'll do my Adam course. I'll learn the Quran. And then later I'll come back and I'll get married. And there's so many other things that come between you and marriage. What's the point of me being married? I just have a girlfriend. Everything that I can get out of a wife, I can get out of a girlfriend. I can enjoy my desires with her. We can go out, take strolls at night, go to the movies, share a milkshake. We can do everything, but no strings attached. No drama, no headache, no fighting, no jealousy. And who wants to be divorced with children? Who wants to be raising children in a single parent home? Who wants that? So therefore, I'm not getting married. Because all of the young brothers and the young sisters who got married, it turned out bad for them. It was a disaster. And I don't want that. I don't want to destroy and ruin my life, ruin my education, and the list goes on. So if I'm going to play the devil's advocate, this is what I would say. And these things would prevent me, as an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, from getting married. Because there's divorce, there's abuse, he's going to cheat, she's going to cheat, there are children, there's the greedy father-in-law, there's the jealous mother-in-law, there's the racism, the colorism, and the list goes on of social problems that the Muslims have. So therefore, why even get married? Why even get married? If I'm not going to fall into the haram with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, then I'll just go to the gym. That's my life. I'll go to the gym. I'll play sports. I'll play basketball or soccer or video games. I'll live my life on social media. That will be my channel for my time and my energy and my frustration, and the list goes on. And unfortunately, this devil's advocate is going to be partially true. Not absolutely true, but partially true. There are a lot of divorces. And there is abuse. And there are problems with the mother and the father and the tribe and the clan and the family. Am I American, half from this country? Do I want to be a thug? Do I want to be a pious Muslim, a righteous Muslim, a student of knowledge? Do I want to be a ladies' man? Do I want to be a diva? Is my hijab fashion? Or is it meant to cover? Confusion. It does exist. And that's partially true. However, we look at our age of 2020, one of the greatest cancers that we suffer from is this self-entitlement. And a person feeling that I have to be satisfied and thanked and appreciated and given what I want immediately and instantly. And that comes from the nature of our world in 2020. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, things were easy in comparison to 50 years ago and 100 years ago. When I was growing up, my grandmother, my grandfather, the older people, they complained. You guys have it easy. You guys are lazy. You guys are ungrateful. You guys don't know what it means to work hard. You don't know what it means to go out and earn $1. You don't know what it means, etc., etc., etc. And now that I'm 35 years old, looking at young brothers and young sisters, I can say the same thing. But to be honest, it is a bit different. And your generation is a bit of a blessing and a great deal of a curse. And that is, whenever you want to know some information, a location, a place, a person, a service, you just go in your pocket. Don't even have to use your thumbprint anymore. That's slow. That's dinosaur age. Now it's with my eyes and my phone opens up. Siri, tell me where such and such is. Give me halal food near me. Call me an Uber. Such and such. This mosque, this masjid. What year was this president born in? What was Imam al-Bukhari? So on and so forth. And the information is brought to you immediately. Immediately. In my day, we were young, it wasn't like that. I remember going to the library. They had computers there. The internet was relatively new, but you actually had to go to a physical place. But now I'm in my bed, I'm on my sofa, I'm driving, I'm on the bus, I'm waiting for the train, and I have the world at my fingertips. And the worst nightmare when I go to a hotel is no Wi-Fi. or slow Wi-Fi, even though I have unlimited data. I have AT&T, T-Mobile, I have unlimited data. But the first thing that I do in the hotel is what? Can I have the Wi-Fi code? What are the beds like? Are there bed bugs? Are there spiders in the bed? Is it 5 stars, 3 stars? Is there free breakfast, continental, etc.? I need the Wi-Fi code. That's not the case. That's the first thing that you do is the Wi-Fi. This Wi-Fi is slow. I'd rather have no Wi-Fi instead of what? Slow Wi-Fi. So we're so spoiled, and we're so addicted, and we're so entitled, and we demand and request and need immediate, instant gratification. That blessing has turned into a curse. And that applies to marriage. That applies to marriage, and that applies to not being married, and that applies to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's gift to his servants through and via az-zawaj wa nikah. Marriage in al-Islam is not a curse, it's a blessing. You meeting with someone and you joining yourself with that person is not a curse, but it is a blessing. But if your vision is foggy, if it's clouded, if it's colored, if you're used to getting things immediately, how you want, whenever you want, without any limit or any cap, then you may not necessarily see it like that, and let alone perceive it. Sight versus perception. There's some of us who can't even see it. I can't see it. It's cloudy, it's dark. And then there are those who do see, but we don't perceive it as a blessing. So you have to realize that Allah Azza wa Jalla, He made this world for His believing servants. And He created all of the goodies and the joyful things in this world for His believing servants. For them to use those good things and those blessings to help them and to assist them to worship Him and to remember Him and to serve Him and to establish His laws, to help the weak and to suppress oppression and the oppressors. That's the purpose of life as a Muslim. It's something that we all know, we all believe this, but we need to see it and we need to perceive it as such. And from that is the blessing of marriage, the blessing of marriage. So therefore, what does marriage bring of good? What is found in marriage of good? And me not being married and remaining single, what happens of bad, of vice? These are the two ways that you determine the value of a thing. When you do it, what you get, and when you don't do it, what you miss out on. Listen to these golden words. You want to do anything in life, going to school, buying a car, taking a job, you look at it from two angles. Number one, what do I get when I do it, when I buy it, when I sign up? And number two, what do I miss out on if I don't take the opportunity? When we look at marriage, we find many advantages. And when we look at not being married, we find many disadvantages. But the thing that prevents many of the young brothers and the young sisters from getting married and staying married and looking for marriage or making themselves available for marriage is what? Is the instant gratification. Is that I want to be happy without no problems. I want to be free without no restrictions. I want to be full without no hunger. I want it all, I want it immediately, and I want it instantly. And if it isn't fast enough, if it isn't clear enough, is it even loud enough, if it isn't vibrant enough, then it's poor reception, it's poor connection, it's slow. And therefore, I don't want it. The cell phone and the addiction to the cell phone, data and the internet and social media has caused us to become extremely greedy and extremely demanding, and oftentimes lazy and lethargic, and we become nearsighted. We become short-sighted, we become narrow-minded, and we think that everything is going to be as we want it by the twitch and the switch of a thumb or an index finger. And that is not the case with marriage. And this is one of the tricks and tools of the shaitan to get the young men and the young women not to get married. Divorce, abuse, children, fighting, parents, mahar, and the list goes on of problems, which may be problems, but it blinds you to the other side of good. It blinds you to the other side of Allah, which is blessings through marriage, and it also blinds you to the vices and harms of remaining single. Everyone understand this or not? So that's first and foremost. And in any talk that we do in 2020, we should try our best to connect it and make it relative to 2020. Not 2019, Not 1990, not in the 80s or my day, but the current. It's to reflect on the past, plan and strategize for the future, but to live in the present. 3 directions: past, present, and future. Reflect on it. Learn from it. Think about, strategize, but the majority of your time and the largest slice from your pie chart has to be given to the present. And from that is being and getting married in 2020. All right, so what are some of the good things that a person can get from marriage? And what are some of the bad things that a person can get from marriage? Let's see what we know. Let's see what we think and how we feel. Let's look at our sight and our perception. And then perhaps we can correct some of these conceptions and some of these mistaken perceptions through the Quran and the Sunnah. And if we don't have misconceptions or failed perceptions, then maybe we can strengthen and bolster what we already know and what we already have. So what is a benefit of getting married? Not for an older brother, 35, an older sister, 38, but what is the benefit of getting married for an 18-year-old? Is there any benefit? Is there any good? You going to college right now, studying and taking classes, is there any good in you getting married? Is there any good in it? Anything fun about it? Or just responsibility, half of your deen, your mother, your father, you have to start a family, etc. Is there anything that you get out of that's fun and satisfying out of being married as a young Muslim, man or woman? Anybody? Nothing good? Marriage is all just evil or responsibility, duty. There's nothing fun out of it.
Having support.
Having support. Why do you need support? What's so important about support? What's the big deal with support? I can stand on my own 2 feet.
What's important about support? So if you're 18 years old, say a woman, or if you have your husband to really be a support system as you continue your education and work and.
Education, work. Is education stressful?
Is it stressful? Yes.
Stressful going to college.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's stressful being a student, even if you're young. Such as what? What's stressful about going to school?
Balancing classes.
Balancing classes.
Figuring out what you want to do in life.
Okay. Time management. All right. What else? Anything else that's stressful? That's the only stress in college?
Work-life balance.
Work and life. What do you mean by life? My life is school.
Okay, so I'm guessing I'm going to say this perspective of like Muslim. Like there's responsibilities you have to, and obligations that you have to look out for your parents. As well.
Your mother, your father, your little brother, but you have an exam. I have a class I have to go to. Balancing, time management can lead you to having what? Stress. How effective can your studies be if you're stressed out? This is an honest question. Will you be as sharp if you're really stressed on the day of the exam or the week of preparation?
No,
You can't. You'd be distracted. All right. Okay, so having a wife or having a husband as an 18-year-old now, not as 20, 25, 30, it allows me to have some type of support. Someone I can talk to, I can confide in. I can just tell them how my day was. I had a really rough day today. Really rough day at school. All right, what other benefits are there for a young Muslim man or woman to be married? Any other benefits? That's it?
To stay away from fitna.
To stay away from fitna. What type of fitna? When you have a husband or wife, you can be natural. Natural. It's a fitna, natural inclination of one sex towards the opposite. Natural inclination for a man to like a woman to like a man. That's natural. And it's very important for us to understand there's nothing wrong with that. It's natural, and it's not haram to have a feeling. It's natural. It's how Allah Azza wa Jalla made you, which we'll mention later on in that time. So if you go to college and you're a young Muslim, in most cases your natural desires are high, they're strong. So if you have a wife or a husband, you're allowed to protect yourself from much, if not all of the what? Fitna of going to school. All right, that's one answer. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, or I agree or disagree. Right, I don't want to hear what you guys think and know. Is it a good thing to get married, being a young Muslim, and going to school and going to college? Anything else? Let's say, guys. Fadl, akhi.
Your spouse is your companion?
Your spouse, nah, that's not true. My brother's my companion, my friend. I can't watch football with her or talk about the basketball game with her or, she's a woman. I'm a man. We can't relate to each other. If you marry the right one that likes football. Tell you. All right, type. So your wife or your friend is your friend, your companion, right? What's so important about having a friend and a companion? Prevents loneliness. Very intelligent answer. What does loneliness do to a person? It can play with your thoughts, just like hunger. Or depressed. What happens when you're depressed? How successful can you study? Really? What do you do if you're depressed? How do you get rid of your depression as a college student? Not as a Muslim, as a college. What's the average college student do for depression? Who said that? They do drugs, right? What type of drugs?
Weed.
Smoke weed. Just be realistic, okay? What else? Xanax? What else? Adderall. Right? And the list goes on. So if you get strung out on those drugs, those pills, green, white, whatever it is, liquid, it's going to be a whirlwind of what? Of problems. So getting married prevents you from becoming depressed. Ask if your wife doesn't make you depressed. Or maybe your husband may make you depressed. Huh? Like, anything else? That's a good answer, though. Not saying that I agree, though, but it is a good answer. Anything else? Any other benefits of getting married, guys? That's it? Nothing else? I'm definitely not convinced. If I was 18 or 19 and I heard you guys speak, I wouldn't get married. I would keep studying, I would keep working, saving money. Well, I wouldn't get married because I haven't been convinced. You can do what? Laundry and cooking. Right, so you cook and wash clothes? You wouldn't do it, but your wife would. So how are you splitting the workload then? Putting all the workload on her. Tell you, how much time does it take from a college student to wash clothes? Now this is him saying this now, not me. All right? You know what I'm saying? I'm being a misogynist, right? How long does it take you to clean your clothes being a college student? 1 to 2 hours. Is that golden time or silver time or bronze time for a college student? It's golden time. So you're saying that if I'm married, some other things, jobs and tasks, I can maximize and economize my time. Is that what you're saying? All right, tight. MashaAllah. Any other answers, guys? That's it.
You can grow towards your deen.
You can grow towards your deen. How does marriage help your deen? How is that? How does me being married to a sister make me a better Muslim? I can pray by myself. I can fast by myself. I can give zakat by myself. I can make hajj by myself. I can read the Quran by myself. Why do I have to be married to a woman to become a better Muslim?
Because as humans, we can lose track of what we do.
You can lose track of what you do.
And if you have someone with you who has
What if my wife is making me lose track?
then she's not the one for you.
She's not the right one. So it's not just getting married, but it's being selective in your marriage.
You have to pick the right partner.
Pick the right partner, okay? All right, so getting married, she says, it helps you stay on track and prevents you from falling off track. What happens if you lose your deen? What's the big deal with that? What's so dangerous about losing your deen?
If you lose your deen, you lose yourself.
You lose yourself. There are people that are Muslim that walk, talk, eat, drink, have better grades than us, more material possessions than us. What's so bad about losing your deen? That's a serious question. What happens when a person loses his or her deen? What's the result of that? Huh? They lose in this life and in the next life. Okay, so belief, you have to have faith, you have to have iman. Talking about these topics, if it's just the hayat dunya, money, material possession, gain, then it's no big deal. You can lose yourself. But even though that's not true as well. Religion and spirituality is one of the most important factors of successful worldly endeavors. Religion and spirituality, whether it's Islam or other than Islam. If you read the books of history, you'll find some of the most important movements were started and stopped because of religion and or spirituality. All right, so we'll come back to that. Any other reasons why we should get married?
You learn to be selfless.
You You learn to be selfless. What does that mean? I love myself. I'm my favorite person. Money to spend is on me. Time to spend on myself. Clothes, food, shoes on myself. Why should I be selfless?
Well, how others were responded by saying, I responded, I need a support system. You also have to be that support system for that other
It's
person.
a mirror. You get and you give. And that goes back to the instant what? Gratification. I need it immediately. And that's why if you pay attention to social media, and if you pay attention to smart devices, they always ask you what? What's something that they always keep asking you is to do what? You keep Googling something, you keep searching something, you keep using the app, what do they want from you? No, something else. They want you to fill out a survey, write a review, right? In other words, you keep using and sucking it. They want you to do what now? Give data, add back to the system. You understand this? It's not just about you using the thing and discarding the thing. But now you have a responsibility of the opposite. So is it important to be selfless going to college? I have a school. You've graduated, you finish your bachelor's degree. You're looking to go postgraduate studies. Do I just look at your grades? That's it. What else do I look at? Experiences. Were you on this team? Did you do this? Did you play this sport? Did you volunteer for this? Were you involved in this charitable program? Me as the dean, I'm going to also look at, are you a selfish person or a what? Selfless person. And everyone's a good student that's selfless. It's not just me, I. And it's one of the most important benefits of marriage, is that it causes you to stop thinking and focusing just on yourself and just taking a selfie for yourself. But it's now someone else that I'm forced to look after. I'm forced to think about. And feelings. I don't care what you feel or think. I can care less. You can't have that attitude when you're married. You have to be mindful of your words because it may hurt her feelings. I have to be mindful of what I do because it may hurt his feelings. And that is not a curse. That doesn't harm a human. That, in actuality, polishes a human being and elevates him when you're considerate of others and you think about others. I would understand this, and we wouldn't be sitting here today in this college if the people only thought about themselves. If they only got their education or degree and they left, but that wasn't their mentality. Their mentality was the next generation. Their mentality was you. Nothing to do with religion and race, but the concept of thinking about the next man before myself. And in actuality, this is one of the most gratifying feelings, is to serve and to help others. But you only know it if you've done it. How good it feels to do something for someone. And how bad it feels to be stingy and selfish deep down inside. All right, any other benefits? That's it? Having someone to build a family with. What's so important about a family? Family is stressful. I have to pay bills. We may get into a fight. You curse me out. You go look through my phone, accuse me of cheating. I may drink alcohol, sleep around, cheat on you, bring you an STD. These are all problems of a family. Correct or incorrect? Family problems. I may beat you up, slap you around. Family. You're my wife. That's right. It's family. Is that true? Do you agree with all of that? So what's good about having a family? Or what's important about having a family going to college? Think about one answer, and I'll leave you alone. I'll stop saying all this bad stuff, huh? One thing about going to school and having a family. What do you do when you stop studying? Where do you go? Do you go back to your dorm? Do you go back to home? What do you do? After a long day of studying, what do you do? Huh? Netflix. All right, tell me, what else? Anything else? Where do I go? I'm by myself. I'm 18. I have no family, no wife, no children, nothing. I'm finished studying. What do I do? Go hang out, go eat, go drink, go smoke, go this, go that, right? Versus I'm going home to see my little son. I'm going home to see my little baby. In which the moment I see him smile, the moment I see her make a face, all of the problems, drama, stress is immediately erased from my mind. Everyone understand this? The moment I see my beautiful wife, the moment I see my handsome husband, the stress of the world and of college is at least temporarily put on pause. And that's something that's extremely important for a young Muslim. Extremely important. It's something to look forward to through a family. All right, what else? Anything else, guys? That's it. It's the only reason why young Muslims should get married. Nothing else. All right, type khair inshallah. So, hold you accountable. Responsibility. You can't just do whatever you want to do. And that's very easy if you're 18 or 19, especially in the modern age. My phone, my money, my account, everything is secured, everything is private. I can live a different life you have no knowledge of. But when you're with someone, there is accountability and responsibility. What does accountability and responsibility do for the human being? Hurt the human being? Or develop the human being? Which of the two? The form or the latter? How is that? How does it make me a better person by me being held accountable and responsible? Anybody know?
Do you know what you're doing wrong and you can be corrected for your total self?
You can be corrected. Anything else? What's so important about accountability? You won't become reckless. The first person you destroy through recklessness is who? Is yourself. It's the first person. Everyone understand this? The first person. All right. Khairan inshallah. Okay. So let's move forward now. What are some of the blessings of marriage in light of the Quran and the Sunnah? What does Allah tell us about marriage? And what does our Prophet ﷺ tell us why we should get married? First volunteer. Abdul Rakhib. How old are you? Tell us how old you are.
19.
19. Allahu Akbar. So I'm talking to you directly. Why should you get married? Why is it a blessing of Allah upon you? A gift.
It solves from the unknown.
It does what?
It solves for one of the unknowns of life.
It solves one of the unknowns of life. From the Quran and Sunnah we want. No more philosophical stuff. We want the hardcore real stuff now.
It's fulfilling the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
The command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what's the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
That if you're able to get married to,
If you can get married, then get married. All right. What's so important about obeying the messenger? Islam is just about obeying Allah, right? That's it, right? Following the Quran, learning the Quran. That's what Islam is. When non-Muslims talk about Islam, the first thing they think about is what? The holy what? Quran. So what is so important about obeying the messenger of Allah? What's so special about that?
Allah tells us to.
Allah tells us to. Something even deeper than that. There's a wisdom behind it. It's deeper than that though. Something deeper than that. More profound. As if Allah Azza wa Jalla is clearing up this misconception for us in 2020. That Islam is just Quran, be a good Muslim, there's no racism in Islam, do the right thing, have a good heart, be generous with your money, and that's it. As far as how you eat, how you dress, how you sleep, what type of money you make, how you spend your money, what do, none of those things are a part of Islam. Islam is a reformed, modern, progressive, secular religion, and the rules of the Quran are extremely flexible. But those hadiths, the Prophet says this, the Prophet says that, no. That's too rigid. That's too extreme. That's too difficult. As if these people were talking like that when the Quran was sent down. What does Allah say in the Quran? Whoever obeys the messenger, Allah says what? فَقَدْ أَطَاعَ اللَّهِ. Whoever obeys the messenger, in actuality, he's obeying who? He's obeying Allah. And that's because he's Allah's messenger. So, let's make an example of this now. Nahyan, you asked me to come do a talk, right? And I tell you, I would love to come, but I'm very busy. But I'm going to send one of my students. Abdul Rakhib is going to come and give you a talk. And then you text me back, oh, Sheikh, Jazakallah khairan, we're having some difficulties. I think the event might be canceled. Thank you very much. You canceled the event. You made an excuse. You wiggled around because of what? You wanted me and not him. So who's going to get mad and offended at the end of the day? Is it just Abdul Rakhib? Is it me? The next event that you have at the college, am I going to respond to it? Why not?
Because you were rejected the first time.
You didn't reject me. I told you I couldn't come.
I rejected him.
You rejected him. And?
In turn, that's like rejecting me.
I sent him. This is my student. He's coming to speak to you. If I said he's okay, that means what? I deem him to be okay. So the moment that you deem him not to be okay, you're disrespecting me. So if you respect him and listen to him and invite him and welcome him, in actuality, you've done that to who? For me. Why is that? Because he is sent from me. So Allah tells us whoever obeys the messenger has indeed in actuality obeyed what? Allah. And that's because Allah sent the messenger. The messenger did not send himself. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ, we have not sent you. There's no verse in which the messenger of Allah says, I have come to you, and that's it. I have been sent. بُعِثْتُ, I have been launched. I have been given. So Allah sent the messenger. So it's very important, much greater and deeper than marriage. He who obeys the messenger, the authentic hadiths, in actuality he's really obeying who? Allah Azza wa Jalla. And we all know what happens when we obey Allah in this life and in the hereafter. So the Prophet ﷺ, he tells us, Ya ma'ashara shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj. There's a hadith collected in the Sahihain. Anas radiallahu anhu, he narrated that one day 3 men came to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ's households. They went to go see him and his wives. فَسَأَلُوا عَنْ عِبَادَتِهِ. They asked about how the messenger was. What was his worship like? What type of Muslim was he in the house with his wives, so on and so forth. So the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, they informed him. And they told him he does this, he does that, so on and so forth. And we all know that Aisha in Sahih Bukhari, another hadith, she was asked, what did the Prophet ﷺ do in the house? What did he do? Did he sharpen his swords and spears? Did he strategize the next military campaign? Did he teach the Quran? What was the Prophet like as a husband, as a father and a stepfather? Aisha radiallahu anha, she narrated, Kana fi mihnati ahlihi. The Messenger of Allah in his house looked after his wife. That's what he did. He took care of the needs and wants of his wife. That's what he was. So back to the original hadith. What did the Prophet do? How much prayer did he make, etc.? And then these 3 men, كأنهم تقالوها. يعني كأنهم رأوا هذه الأعمال والعبادات قليلة بالنسبة إليهم. تقالوها. They saw these deeds and these actions being qaleel, just a bit. We're not good enough. We're not chosen by Allah like the Messenger of Allah. We have to do more. So one of them said, I will never ever eat and I'll continually fast every day. And another said, I'll pray at night and I'll never ever go to sleep. And the third said, I will live a monastic lifestyle, a hermit lifestyle, and I'll never ever get married, ever. Because marriage prevents me from prayer. Marriage prevents me from doing this and from doing that, etc. When the Messenger of Allah ﷺ heard about these people and what they said, he said, وَلَكِنْ, however, I asumu uftir, I fast and I also eat. Usalli wa anam, I make prayer at night and also sleep. Wa atazawwaju nisa, and I marry. And hadith clearly says, atazawwaju nisa, I marry women. Never said marry any other sex. He says I marry women. Men marry women. فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. The Prophet says, if you want something other than my way, if you need something extra, something more, then you have nothing to do with me. فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. You have nothing to do with me if you don't want to do what I say to do. And from that is to get what? Married. So marriage is a piece of instruction. It's a piece of advice. And it's from the life of our Prophet ﷺ. Rather than the Quran, Allah tells us, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ وَلَا تُنْكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنُوا. Allah, He commands us not to allow mushriks to marry Muslim women until they believe. And Allah also tells us, فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. Women that are pleasing to you. You like the sister. She's pretty. She has good character. She's smart. She gets good grades. Then you should do what? Marry her, because she's pleasing to you. So getting married is a command of Allah, and it's a command of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Getting married is a recommendation from Allah, and it's a recommendation from the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. So the first way that we can prove that marriage is a gift, that Allah is handing us something, is that He speaks about it and He talks about it. And Allah would never give us a thing that's harmful to us. And He would never command us to do a thing that is bad for us, rather something which is at the peak and the pinnacle of goodness. The peak and the pinnacle of goodness. And if you don't believe that, and if you don't see that, then there's a subtle disrespect to Allah. Subtle disrespect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, getting married while in school, or should I wait, finish my degree, then get married? get married simultaneously, do my doctor's degree, what type of woman to marry, how old, should she be from my race, do I have to listen to my mother and my father, can it be a different person? Those details and those specifics are not what we're talking about here today. Here we're only talking about that marriage is a gift, it's a blessing, and it is not a curse. Now, let's put that on pause for a second. I know it says some really crazy things, right? Talks about smoking weed, and hitting women, and cheating, and all of this bad stuff, but it's real stuff. It's reality. Even if you get married and you get divorced, even if you get married and it doesn't work out for you, even if you get married, you have to go through many problems and ups and downs of life, you're still going to come out with at least one gift. One gift. That gift could be a beautiful child. Me and the mother, we're not together anymore. It didn't work out for us. I wasn't the best husband, she wasn't the best wife, or I was a good husband. She was a good wife, but it wasn't meant for us. There was no good chemistry. As the Prophet ﷺ tells us, وَجَمَعَ بَيْنَكُمَا فِي خَيْرٍ. The people, the Prophet ﷺ's people, whenever a man got married to a woman, they would say, رِفَانِ بِالْبَنِينَ. May you be happy and may you have many boy children. May you be happy and may you have many boy children. And oftentimes we read the Quran and we read those ayat, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. The baby that's buried in the sand is going to be asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. Why was she killed? Why would Arab people kill their daughters? Why would they bury their daughters alive? What was the purpose of this? Why did they dislike daughters so much? And for a man to have a daughter was a curse. Why was this? They hated women, absolutely. They were foolish enough to think that they could live and continue living without women. This is what many of us think and feel, and that's wrong. And that's an improper understanding of the Quran. It's not that they necessarily hated women. And it's not that they thought that they could live without women. But oftentimes it's because they loved women and they respected women so much as that they were ashamed and afraid of women being disgraced and disrespected and humiliated. And that's because they lived in a feudal society. There were wars. And the first thing that happened when there was a war, the victors of the war, they would take the women folk as their slaves and captives. So oftentimes a man would have a daughter and he was scared and afraid that she would grow up and be mistreated and disrespected by a rival clan. That is why he would bury the daughter alive. Is that the correct solution? We're not saying that. Does that make sense? That's not what we're saying. What we're trying to prove a point is that there was a method to the madness. There was a reason why they did that act. Everybody with me or not? There was a reason why they did that act. Everybody with me so far or not? So, the concept of a person, a boy child, that was what the Arabs wanted. That's because my son could be a warrior. My son could be an heir. My son could travel. My son could represent me. My son is going to look like me. And I didn't want a girl. So whenever people got married, the first supplication that they would make was, may you be happy with a lot of boys. They would pray for the bride and the groom to have boy children, to have warriors, to have strong sons, and not girls, not girl babies. So the Prophet ﷺ, he abolished this. Abtala, he abolished it. You can't say that anymore. And he would say the following pieces of advice to newlyweds. Barakallahu lak, wa baraka alayk, wa jama'a baynakuma bi khayrin aw fi khayr. May Allah bless you, may Allah put blessings upon you, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla bring you together with harmony and chemistry. Barakallahu laka fiha. May Allah make you happy through this righteous, beautiful wife. Wa baraka alayka. And may Allah Azza wa Jalla make you pleasing to her. And most importantly, brothers and sisters, wa jama'a. And may Allah take her who's here and you who's here and bring you together physically? No. He says bi khayrin aw fi khayr, meaning harmoniously, with chemistry. So a big part of marriage is that it just doesn't work out. Not that you are a bad brother or you are a bad husband. Not that she was a bad sister, but it just didn't work out. We just couldn't get along. I used to love her, I used to feel, but it fizzed away. No problem. So that's a curse of marriage, right? Is to get divorced. Is to be heartbroken, right? But oftentimes Allah gives you a gift in disguise. You no longer have feelings for this woman. She no longer has feelings for you, but Allah blessed you with Abdurrahman, a righteous, healthy Muslim son. Or He blessed you with Amatullah, a beautiful, gorgeous young baby girl, even though you and the mother don't get along anymore. You and the mother don't live with each other anymore. So this is one of the blessings of marriage, even if the marriage doesn't what? Even if it doesn't work out. Let alone the responsibility that you have attained, the experience that you have obtained, and all of the things that you get from a marriage in its worst scenario, let alone in its what? In its best scenario. So the point is, brothers and sisters, with the time that we have here today, is that marriage is a gift, it's a blessing, and it's not a curse. Are there responsibilities in marriage? Yes. Are there times in which you're not going to be smiling in marriage? I'm not going to stand in front of you and lie to you. I'm not going to paint this Picasso picture and make you think that marriage is a bed of roses. There are times in which you're going to frown. There are times in which you're going to be stressed out. There are times in which you're not going to feel the best and the happiest. But you have to have perception above sight. And that is what is the end of marriage, the goal of marriage, the purpose of marriage, and what you get from it. And what you get from giving into that marriage. So marriage is not a curse if it's done properly. And the first step of getting married is not finding a girl and not finding a brother, but it is having a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having a connection with Allah, making dua to Allah, asking Allah to suffice you. And asking Allah Azza wa Jal to make you from those, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَاهُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah says, these people Allah has guided. فَبِهُدَاهُمْ مُقْتَدِي. Allah says, so follow their guidance. And all of the prophets and the messengers, they had wives. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا رُسُلًا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ. Allah says, before you we sent messengers, and we have made for them وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ أَزْوَاجًا وَذُرِّيَّةً. We gave them wives, and we gave them sons and daughters. We gave them children. So that's the sunnah of Allah, is marriage and children. So if you want to get married, the first step is not the brother or the sister, but it's the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guidance. Asking Allah to guide you, to keep you guided, to make you firm, and asking Allah Azza wa Jalla to give you that what you want and that what you need of good of this life. Then, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, is working on yourself. Working on yourself. Not thinking about the opposite sex, not thinking about her or him, what she looks like, what she dresses like, what he looks like, but thinking about yourself, reflecting and criticizing yourself. And that's because if you're doing the right thing, if you're focused, if you're serious, not a perfect robot, we're not saying that, but you're doing the right thing, you're trying to strive, you don't necessarily have to look for a wife, nor do you necessarily have to look for a husband, but in most cases, a husband or wife will find you and then look for you. And that's because good reputation is more valuable than gold. Good reputation is more valuable than gold. She's 19 years old, mashallah, she's very pretty, she wears hijab, she gets good grades, she's a good community member, she's on this team, she does this. This is the things that the brothers will want to fight over who can marry her. That's why people are laughing and blushing out. That's the reality. And everybody, they want that. And vice versa. People know, they see you. They know where you come from, they know what you look like. They see your grades, they know what type of life, inshallah, that you're going to be leading. They can clearly see that. And they see the potential in you, and therefore, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, you won't necessarily have to do all of the work. You won't have to do all of the work. So the point is, brothers and sisters, is that if marriage is done properly, through your connection with Allah, through you working on yourself first and foremost. Point number 3, step number 3, is knowing what you want. Maturity. And that's something that many of us lack. We don't even know what we want. We say we want this type of brother, you get the brother, you squander the opportunity. You say you want this type of sister, you get the opportunity, and you squander the opportunity. Or like many young brothers, Abdul Rakim, they do what? They smile and they laugh. The word marriage is brought up, and they do what? They giggle. They don't even know what they want in life. They don't know what they want from life and what they want to do with life. So if you're confused, if you're indecisive, if you're immature, if you're laughing and giggling, oftentimes you'll find yourself with someone that you never wanted from the get-go. You'll find yourself with someone that you didn't want to be with. Through your father, your mother, your friend, your imam, and the list goes on. So you got to know what you want. Everyone understand this? You got to know what? You got to know what you want. So therefore, if you have the good relationship with Allah, number 1. Number 2, work on yourself, focus on yourself. Number 3 is to be not only selective, before selection is to know what you want. And the worst thing to do is to go to the supermarket and empty stomach. It's the worst thing that you can do. It's to go shopping and you're hungry. Is this not the case? Is this not the case? That's the worst thing to do. The worst thing to do is to go to the supermarket without a what? A list. And that's because you do what? You start picking up everything. Rather, your little daughter or this one will put something in your basket for you. And you never even wanted that thing. You don't need that thing. It's out of your budget, but it looks good. It's only $2.99. Why not? And then you leave the supermarket and you go home and you find a bunch of things that you didn't actually what? Need or want. And that's because you didn't know what you wanted and needed from the supermarket. So before you actually pick up something, you have to have an agenda. I don't want this, and I do want that. I have 5 things that the sister must have. If she doesn't fall under these 5 pillars, there's no way I can marry her. Regardless of how much money she has, how pretty she is, 5 golden principles she has to have. And then I have 5 things that she cannot have, period. No matter what she looks like, no matter, she can't have any of these 5 things. As long as I've achieved these 10 things, the other stuff I can fill in the gaps. So I wanted a sister who's studying biology, but she has an English major. No problem, because she has the 5 points, and she doesn't have the 5 notes. I wanted a brother that was an athlete. I didn't want someone that was just a book smart, type of nerdy type of guy. But he has the 5 things, and he doesn't have the 5 no's, so therefore I what? Etc. Everyone get this? So oftentimes people, they find themselves in bad marriages, they find themselves in bad situations, not because of their parents or people, but oftentimes because of themselves. And that's because they didn't have the right guidance from the get-go. They didn't have the right agenda from the get-go. They didn't know what they wanted from the get-go. And the last thing I'm going to say here, even if you do all of these things, and you work your hardest, and you try your hardest, it may not work out for you. But there's no way that the Muslim is going to leave a marriage without some type of benefit. As the Prophet ﷺ tells us, عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ إِنَّ أَمْرَهُ كُلَّهُ لَهُ خَيْرٌ إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاءُ شَكَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاءُ صَبَرَ فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. The affair and the life of the believer is amazing, it's marvelous, it's stupendous, it's fantastic, it's totally elating. And that is, anything that happens to the believer is going to be good for him. Prosperity, winning, money, a plus comes to you, you're going to be thankful. And that's a blessing, that's a gift. And if divorce happens, you get sick, you lose property, you lose something, you lose someone, you're patient. And that's also good for you. So the believer never, ever loses, period. The Muslim, the munafiq, the fasiq, the person who has no religion, no life, maybe. But the believer, the mu'min, never loses in this world. So it doesn't work out between me and her, between you and him, but you get something from it. Whether it's a child, children, experience, appreciation, gratefulness, or that person may make you a better Muslim, even though you're not with them anymore. It may make you a better person. It may push you to raise your bar as a human being, as a person. Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. We ask Allah, the Mighty and the Most High, to make us of those who appreciate and understand this gift. Thank you very much. It was my honor to be your guest, your keynote speaker. May Allah give you guys good grades, success, and keep you firm upon guidance. Ameen.